What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of NBA to the Galaxy podcast, featuring your host, Slimothy Jones. To my right there, you can find him on X at RTR30111. You can find myself at Scotty Drowned on X, that is. But obviously, this is a big episode coming off of a big week, 2 weeks, whatever you want to call it. Since this trade deadline has really heated up. We're going to get into all the biggest trades. We're going to get into some of the smaller trades as well. And then towards the end of the show, we're going to wrap it up with winners and losers of the deadline. So I think this one's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of opinions, man. We don't have to dive into numbers for this one. We don't have to dive into even recent play. This is just about the acquisitions that were made over the deadline. Which there are a lot to get to. So before we get to those, man, how is your Thursday going, my brother?
I'm going good, man. Gotta talk about a lot of things that transpired today. This past weekend, it's a lot to get into. So, yeah, man,
yes,
ready
sir.
to get into it, but yeah, I'm doing good.
Your team had a big splash there towards the end as well, man, the day before.
we did.
So
we did.
We're gonna definitely get into that at a certain point here, but I do think we need to start at the top. D-Rap with the comment, "Oh, I know we hate the Luka trade." I want your instant thoughts here, man. What were your thoughts when you saw this trade break? Like when the news first broke that Luka was being traded to the Lakers. Where was your head at?
Man, honestly, man, when I got out the shower, bro, I just seen all these notifications on my phone, and I was reading them. I didn't know it was real until you just kept seeing them and seeing them. I was like, dang, this actually is real. But instant reaction is just like shocked. Like,
Yeah,
whoever thought that Luka would get traded, like,
it was
instantly
baffling.
shocked. Like, this definitely has to be the most shocking trade of all time. It's not even close. Like, none of us knew Luka was even on the block. So
Right.
Typically like superstars like that you would know like in the off season, but for some reason he got traded during the season. But if I had one word, it would definitely be shocked. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Like even the following morning, I woke up, it was still felt like a dream. Like this.
Yeah.
This actually happened, but.
No, I feel that. I really do. Because I have D-Rav's comment pulled up here, rigged, and there's a lot of speculation on that with the Lakers, and obviously Luka going to the Lakers. And in my opinion, it is a little odd how it was handled. Like, why would you send Luka in conference to another team with LeBron James on it?
One first round pick.
For one first round pick. You don't get like an Austin Reeves in it. You don't get like a Dalton Connect, who is a former first round pick. You didn't get the most that you could out of the deal. And so, yeah, it is a little odd. It's odd that they only talked to the Lakers, that he was only available to the Lakers.
Right.
It is all very strange to me. And to your point, very surprising, because was Luka disgruntled? It doesn't seem like it based on what he's saying after being traded.
Yeah,
so it was all the math.
Yeah, basically it was everything on their end. He said he wanted to retire in Maverick, but the front office had better, ideas or whatever. But I will say this though.
Yeah.
The Mavericks did get, Anthony Davis, who, by the way,
great fit.
Yeah, it's a good fit for him. It really is. Like,
yeah,
he can finally be that power forward that he has been dreaming.
With Lively.
Lively, Gafford,
That's very tough.
That's a pretty good
Gafford too. Yeah.
Front court. So, yeah, still got Kyrie, Clay. They got Max Christie, who has been coming to his own as a young player. They just got your guy, Caleb Martin. So they got a nice defensive-minded team over there, as well as guys who can score the ball. Still got P.J. Washington. So,
and maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was like the defensive identity. Maybe that's what they want, like around Kyrie or whatever. Like I guess the one part of me that understands the trade is watching them in the NBA Finals against the Celtics and seeing him get abused on the defensive end of the court. There is a part of you that could believe that you will never win a championship with a guy like that as your number one, a guy that is completely offensively focused and maybe you get some great effort from one night on defensive end, but then the next night you might get half-ass effort. So
Yeah,
I can see that side of the combo. I can see it, but still, he's 25 years old, man. Like
yeah,
one
and
first
then
round
like
pick.
I know, right? Because Rudy Gobert got traded for like 5 picks, if I'm not mistaken. So
Like,
let that
bro,
sink in.
if the Mavs call the Sixers, and I'm not saying that Embiid is like better than AD or whatnot, right? What I'm trying to say, if the Mavs called the Sixers, maybe the Sixers do offer Embiid in draft compensation for Luka Doncic. Do you know what I mean? Like, and once again, I'm
Yeah,
not saying
definitely.
that Embiid is like by far this better player than AD or that he is even better given his injury status and whatnot. But you could have gotten Embiid. You could have included Caleb Martin in that deal. You could have gotten some of the picks that we backloaded as well. You
Hmm.
could have gotten more. I'm using my favorite team as an example, but there's other teams out there as well
Oh
that you
yeah,
could have contacted in the Eastern Conference and get him out of conference.
yeah, right. Yep,
So
like
very weird.
it's definitely a lot too. I mean, I took a few notes. Like, I think I was even confused with this. Like, Mark Cuban, he's technically still somewhat of the owner, but he don't have
Yeah.
like a lot of. He's not like the major owner of the
Yeah.
Dallas Mavericks. A lot of people thought that Mark Cuban was the one that traded Luka, but
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched this show. It's called Running Back with Chandler Parsons. He, former Dallas Maverick, and he texted Mark Cuban about the trade or whatever, and
Yeah.
basically Mark Cuban said he was confused about the trade as well. So as an owner saying something like that, that should kind of tell you a lot. Like Nico Harrison, he had a few interesting comments about the trade. I took notes. He said he had concerns about basically Luca health and his conditioning. So it ain't no secret. Like Luca has come into like training camp, not in the best of shape. Got up to like
Yeah.
270 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
And for Luca, it's still just like a learning thing for him. Like the lifestyle, like there isn't technically like an off season. Like obviously you don't play basketball in the summer, but you still have to like eat right,
Yeah.
sleep right, diet right or whatever, because it's the
Part of the
NBA is a
game.
lifestyle. Yeah, it's part of the
Yeah.
game. Like you get paid top dollars, to be the top dog or whatever. So
Yeah.
I could kind of see that perspective on it, as well as like
You
his
don't want to
main
give that
thing.
massive
Um,
extension.
yeah, I was just gonna say he don't want to like pay him if you still got those concerns about him, from a health standpoint or whatnot, as well as defense wins championships. Like that was his main thing. Like that's why he was so in on getting a guy like Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Obviously one of the better defenders in the league, and he give you 25 a game on the other end. So
Yeah.
those are some quite interesting comments that I picked up from Nico Harrison in the press conference.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And then, of course, it was tied in, his relationship previously with AD and in different
Hmm.
areas, I guess, with like Nike and different things like that. So there is a connection there. And like you said, AD is a really good fit next to Kyrie and company down there in Dallas. It's not that Dallas isn't going to be able to compete now. Like they could very well go and compete for a championship, possibly, right? Like possibly, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
can AD get back to like a NBA Finals MVP level type of thing, or can Kyrie elevate a little bit just to elevate them just a little bit, right? Because the thought was always
And
like you're
Clay
going to get
Robinson.
Luka a 35 point per game score, a walking triple double back. That's not
Mhm.
coming through the door, but you are going to get an Anthony Davis back. They did pick up Mark Williams. That was a big concern after trading Anthony Davis. You didn't really have like a good big outside of Jackson Hayes. They go out and they get Mark Williams, who's young, very solid. Let me ask you this. Do you think, well, about both teams, do you think either of these teams, both of these teams are still able to compete for a championship? Or in the Lakers case, are they ready now to compete for a championship when Luka's healthy? Like, where are you at with both of these teams?
You could definitely make a case for both teams. I mean, I got to give it to the Lakers. They went out there. They got, like you said, Mark Williams. That's a pretty good fit. You seen what Luke can do with live threats. Gafford
Yeah.
and Lively. So bringing in a guy like Mark Williams, they only can. I'm sure their chemistry will be pretty well. So they do have shooting. The only thing I say about the Lakers, I have in question is kind of their defense. A backcourt of
Yeah.
Austin Reeves and Luca don't
Yeah.
sound as good. And Rui Hachimura not necessarily the best wing defender, but I guess they can make things happen or whatnot. But I think that the Mavericks are more championship ready than the Lakers. You bring in a guy like AD. I think he'll be motivated to prove a lot of guys wrong.
Yeah.
NBA champion, you got Kyrie, you got
Depth.
Clay. You know, it's interesting. You got Kyrie, Clay, and AD, who was like sidekicks basically at one point. Now,
Yeah.
now they got
Who's
now they
gonna be
are
the star?
yeah now they all together,
I
and they
feel like
got a
it's
nice
AD though. I feel like it's AD. I feel like he's
yeah for sure. AD that
the
guy,
better
he could be the
overall
guy.
player out of
Yeah,
those
he
three.
could be the guy, and then they got like a nice group of guys around him: Max Christie,
Yeah.
Lively, Gafford, PJ. So I think the Mavericks are more championship ready, man. In my
Is
opinion.
that what we're Are we sleeping on the value of AD? Is that what it is?
Yeah, you don't find too many guys that can guard 1 through 5 and give you 25 a game.
Right. Along with maybe 15 to 20 rebounds when he's
Right.
having a night. Like, yeah, in a
Yeah.
defensive menace. So yeah, I agree. Let's move on. We're gonna get it. We got a lot more to get into here. The next trade basically in line here, the next biggest trade, I guess you could argue between this guy and your own Jimmy Butler now. But De'Aaron Fox gets moved to San Antonio in a 3-team deal. Fox and McLaughlin go to San Antonio. Lavine, is it Sissoko? Is it Kisoko?
City. I know you're talking about Cisco.
Cisco? Is that what
Cisco.
it is? It's
Yeah, Cisco.
Cissoka or
Yeah, City
OKO.
Cisco. Yeah.
Okay. So they get him. He ends up getting moved in another deal anyways, so it doesn't
Yeah.
really
I
matter.
seen that. Yeah.
They get a first. They get a 2025 first. They get a 2027 first, a 2031 first, and then they get 3 second-round picks. All go to Sacramento. Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and 2025 first-round pick goes to Chicago, man. De'Aaron Fox. This is one we could maybe see coming based off of the reports. But how are you feeling after you see this deal go down and you see what had to be given up to get De'Aaron Fox?
Well, first and foremost, the Bulls, they got finesse, but what's new though?
Is that just Lavine's contract? Is that how far he is sunk? Like, is that what that is? Like getting that off your books?
You can say that, yeah.
Which that's the only thing that's the only way I can reason around it.
You can say that.
Because you got nothing in return, man. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like they got finesse, man. But the
yeah.
Kings and the Spurs are both the winners in this trade. Obviously, I say
Yeah.
the Spurs probably won it more because they really didn't give up nothing to get Fox. I mean, maybe a valuable pick, but they
We were
gave a
talking about
role.
Keldon and
Yeah,
Vassell.
they gave
Like
up role players. They gave up Zach
yeah.
Collins, Trey Jones, and somebody else. But the point is, I'd do that in a heartbeat to get somebody like Darren Fox to pair him alongside Wembanyama. And
Yeah.
last night in his debut, you can tell that it's going to be a pretty good fit. But even the Spirit, I mean, the Kings, they got some good in return too. Zach Lavine, they still
Yeah.
can be pretty competitive, you know. So yeah, I think it's definitely a win for both the Spurs and the Kings.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think when you get Lavine in return, even though it's not coming from San Antonio, it's still a W because you have Lavine who's played with DeMar DeRozan in Chicago. Like I
Right.
saw the little video
Yeah.
between those two. They have chemistry. Now Malik Monk can be the main guard out there in Sacramento, which
Yeah.
they were kind of trending, towards that with De'Aaron Fox there towards the end anyways. So he gets to step into that role fully. Maybe Malik Monk gets to expand his game a bit. But yeah, I do love the fit of De'Aaron Fox in San Antonio. You got Chris Paul down there as like the backup point guard, which is perfect. You keep Devin Vassell, you keep Keldon Johnson, who can be key guys down the stretch. It's going to be a good team. They're a piece, 2-3 pieces away from like really, really contending, but you
Cam
do have
Johnson.
your core two there.
Yeah, you do. Go get Cam Johnson in offseason.
That's a great idea. It's a great idea, quite honestly. He would be a great third piece to add in there, and then you see what you get out of Devin Vassell and so on and so forth. But yeah, it didn't am I tripping? They didn't give up Stephon Castle either in this, right?
No Kessa, no Stephon Castle or Vassell in the deal.
Like it feels like I'm tripping when I say that out loud. Like, how did they not give up a Vassell or a Stephon Castle
They
for
pulled it off.
De'Aaron Fox. But
Pulled it off.
nonetheless, man, that's a W for San Antonio. It's where Fox wanted to go, and that duo is going to be crazy to see De'Aaron Fox with his speed, his pace, and just getting out on the break, Wemby blocks turning into Fox fast breaks, different things like that. It's going to be exciting to watch. This wasn't the next trade, but I think it's the next biggest trade or equally as big. I don't know. Is Jimmy Butler and De'Aaron Fox? Like, De'Aaron Fox, he's a better player at this point, right? Like, just is he? I don't know. I can't say that like certainly.
Player.
They're both franchise players.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
He's up for debate.
He's younger. That's why I go with Fox as the bigger trade. He just has like a higher point to reach, maybe. But you guys got Jimmy Butler. It's a star. He's a top 3 star in this trade deadline, I would say. Jimmy Butler, man. I know I got your instant reaction via text, but I want you to share your thoughts. You're the Warriors fan on this show. What were your thoughts to this instantly when this trade happened? What were your thoughts versus your thoughts now on the trade?
That's a great way to put it, man. That's a great way to put it. Instantly, it was kind of shocked, but he's just going through a lot of emotion because, number one, I'm actually surprised that the Warriors even made a trade. I mean, I've been telling you this, like, we're not a team known to make a lot of trades at the trade deadline, but for us to make a move, yeah, we made multiple, so that kind of, lets me know that they pretty much, all in. But
yeah,
initially, you just hate to see a guy like Wiggins go. He kind of grew on me, man. Like, I can literally say I watched Wiggs turn his career around when he joined the Warriors. Like, he turned into this defensive savant, like, guards multiple positions and give you like 18 a game on the other end. And he was pretty much key for us to win our championship back in 22. Yeah. And yeah, man, I'm definitely going to miss Wiggs for sure. But to get some great, you got to give us something good. Nonetheless, I know what Jimmy Butler is about. He's all about his business when he's, locked in. He just took a Miami Heat team to the finals. It was just a few years ago. So, yeah, man, now how I feel about it, I'm feeling pretty good about it, just ready to go out there and compete. Obviously, we definitely had to make more moves into the offseason or whatnot, but this is definitely like a right step in the right direction. So, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it now.
Yeah, and I mean, depending on which version of Jimmy you get, like in this season, he hasn't played much, but if you can get like a high-level version of Jimmy, maybe you can compete this year. Who knows? Maybe it reinvigorates, Steph Curry and Draymond, gets them excited to play again when you bring in a big star like that. And I think the other thing with Jimmy Butler that makes it more of a positive thing than maybe it would have been at first is that he signed that extension as soon as he got there. So it shows he wants to be there,
so,
which is huge.
$60 million, I mean, that's a lot of money. So hopefully we get the best version of him for the next half of this season, the next 2 years or whatever. So, yeah, man, I'm excited to see what Jimmy looks like.
You give him his money, you make him happy. Now he just goes out there and plays basketball. That's all he has to do. He doesn't have to worry about the off-the-court stuff, which is going to be huge. It will be interesting to see how him and Draymond mesh. I've seen a lot of talk about that. They're two big personalities. That's what it is. But both guys are going to have to sacrifice a little to get by and to succeed to win, which, as you mentioned, your Warriors have plenty of experience with that roster and that head coach. So, nonetheless, I do think it was a great trade for the Golden State Warriors. What'd you think about what the Heat got in return? Do you think that they're happy?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they're going to love Wiggins, man. Like Wiggins is the ultimate professional.
He fits in with them too, like the culture.
Eric Spoelstra going to love him. He defends his tail off and still give you 17 a night. Who else did they get?
They got PJ Tucker. I think they flipped him.
Yeah, he got rerouted to Toronto. So
Kyle
I
Anderson.
Well, they supposed to reroute him as well. So
okay.
Pretty much Jimmy Butler, and I know they got Davion Mitchell this morning. So
yeah, and they got a first round pick as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we did trade them out pick. So yeah, we did do that. So they're going to love Wiggins though for sure. He's going to fit right in.
Yeah, I do agree. Just with that culture, Eric Spoelstra, no, like what do you call it? Jimmy, arrogance or a little bit egotistical, right? You're not going to get a lot of that with Andrew Wiggins. He's going to come in. He's going to try to fit right in with this team. Great question, random person. What do we think about the Milwaukee Bucks moves? Kyle Kuzma, Kevin Porter Jr., is that correct?
Yeah.
Right, KPJ. Am I forgetting anybody else?
I think that may be it. Kyle Kuzma, KPJ. Yeah,
And
I
they
don't
picked
think
up
they.
like a Baldwin Jr., Jericho Sims, those type of things. But the
Oh yeah, they did
Kuzma,
go Jack and Sims. Yeah, they did.
the Kuzma edition is the really big one there. And then of course Kevin Porter Jr. I mean, he's a talented guy. It's always been his off the court stuff that you really, really worry about. But I think it's talent that Bucks team could really use. They ship out Chris Middleton. You had mentioned him as a guy that maybe could get moved this trade deadline. So you were spot on with that, man. What do you think about him? Like, has he been bought out by the Wizards yet? Is that happening? Like,
I doubt it. Chris Middleton makes a lot of money,
contract
like
is
30,
ridiculous.
$31 million, man. That's a lot of money
You
to
can't
buy
get
out.
bought
So.
out like that. Yeah, you're
but
right. You're right.
but then again, it's like he do have a player option for like $34 million. So I
Does
don't know
he
if they
opt
want to.
out? How do you opt out of that at his
Yeah,
level that he's
that's what I'm
playing at right
saying.
now?
So if you the Wizards, more than likely he's going to opt into that. So
That is interesting, man. That is interesting. Something to
um,
keep an eye on.
but with Chris Middleton though, man, like I
Yeah,
kind of, you just felt it. It was only a matter of time of him getting moved. I mean, the Bucks had to
yeah,
start somewhere, making marginal moves to improve their roster. So yeah, man, shout out to Chris Middleton, man. He had one of the best. I think that was Game 6 in the finals that ultimately helped the Bucks get that championship. He had like 40 points or something like that.
yeah.
But ever since then, things just hasn't been right with Chris Middleton, a lot of injuries or whatnot. But he should definitely get his jersey retired. Nonetheless, they don't win a championship without him. So yeah,
Yeah.
best of luck to Chris in Washington. If he do stay, they should be a good leader to those young guys or whatever. But
They're
switching over
just
to Kyle, huh?
soaking up. The Washington's just soaking up contracts. They took in Marcus
Yeah,
Smart as well, man.
yeah, they did. Yeah,
Yeah.
they
I
got a
guess
lot
that's
of
what you
money in
gotta
there for
do.
sure.
Yeah.
But switching over to Kyle Kuzma, a lot of guys are like talking down on Kuz, man. Looking at his shooting percentages, saying
Interesting.
he's trash and he fell off. Which I'm not knocking. I'm not taking up for him. But I will say this though,
Maybe.
Kyle Kuzma will look way better alongside Giannis and Damian Lillard. I promise you that.
Absolutely.
Playing off the ball, cutting, just rebounding, spotting up. He ain't got to do too much. So yeah,
Playing meaningful basketball, right? It's
yeah,
different than playing for the worst team in the NBA. Like that's
right.
going
Yeah.
absolutely nowhere.
Kyle
Like, yeah,
Kuzma is
I
not
agree.
a Kyle Kuzma not like a number one option worthy player. So.
No. He's
Or
gonna
even
help
a
them
second option.
rebounding. He's gonna help
Yeah,
them space the
rebound.
floor. He can attack off the dribble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he can attack
Maybe
close
it
up.
does look bad. Maybe it looks bad in hindsight after this season plays out, or if he's there next year. But I think it's worth the risk for the
Yeah,
Milwaukee Bucks.
for what they
To
gave up anyway. Because honestly, like I'm pretty sure Chris Middleton didn't just have a crazy market. So
right, exactly. With that contract, no. Um, the other team in the Eastern Conference, I'm just trying not to miss anything here, but the other team that my mind goes to is the Cleveland Cavaliers because they're obviously have the number one record in the NBA still. Is that correct? I haven't checked the
in
standings in like 2 days, so I don't want to
in the
be
Eastern Conference, let me look right quick.
in the East. Definitely no. The OKC has
Yeah, okay, see, yeah, 40 and
one
9.
less loss, one less win as well, but they have a higher winning percentage.
Mhm.
So best in the East, nonetheless. They added DeAndre Hunter. They give up a Karis LeVert, who's been playing some pretty good basketball. A Georges Niang, 3 second-round picks, 2 pick swaps. But in my opinion here, I think it's an upgrade. I think it's a guy, you get rid of
Mhm.
Niang, you get rid of LeVert. I think Hunter's better than LeVert, and I think Niang's a guy that you're just not going to miss that much, quite honestly, at the end
Yeah.
of the day when he can't defend. Um,
Wow.
didn't give up any first.
Hold on, right quick.
What?
You
What?
said
What?
you said that, but I forgot. Well, you have experience with Niang, so
Yeah.
yeah, you said that quite like harshly, like come on, man.
Nah, because funny story, man. I'll keep it quick. I know we're crunching up on time here, but funny story, man. I tweeted the year he left the Sixers. I tweeted out my list of like moves that I would make in the offseason, and one of them was like, do not bring Georges Niang back because he can shoot the ball, he can space the floor, he's a great shooter, but the guy cannot rebound, he cannot play defense, he can't move his feet at all. He looks like a minivan. That's what they called him.
Yeah,
like literally.
to your point, that's why y'all went and got PJ Tucker, but you know, you can move on.
Yeah, which it didn't work out much better with PJ, but at least he could play defense. But yeah, my point being, he like quote tweeted me and like did like a laughing emoji and like said this guy, and it's like we didn't sign him back, so they listened to me. They agreed with me, so I don't know. I do have a little animosity. He felt the need to come at me as if I'm going to him. Like, you don't play defense, dog. Like, that's not my fault.
He don't. He really don't. Cavs fan will agree with you on that.
Yeah, exactly. So, how do you feel about the addition of Hunter to this Cavs roster, man? Because I know you were high on the Cavs to begin with.
Well, that's definitely a win. I mean, you hit it on the head. Like LeVert, I think he's a free agent. I think this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
someone's saying that
older.
This is the perfect move to get somebody like Hunter who's under contract for like the next 2 or 3 years, and he gives you more height. He's 6'8", more length. You know, he can pretty good defender. He can score the ball. I know he's shooting like 40% from 3-point range. So I love the pickup. You know, honestly, the way I look at it, they only gave up LeVert. Like obviously they gave up picks, but I mean the Cavaliers, you ain't worried about that right now. You're trying to compete for a title, so you got to give up what you got to give up. So I love this trade. One quick thing, about the Hawks. It's kind of confusing what they're doing here. Like you just traded Hunter, you traded Bogdanovich to the Clippers. Like what direction are you heading in? Like sooner or later, I'm sure Trae Young may look to X out. I don't know. It's just confusing like what direction they're trying to go in.
Why not look to move Trae Young if you're going in this direction? You know, you got your young talent in there, right? Didn't move Capella either, right?
No, they didn't. No.
So it's odd. They're a team that is going. You don't know where they're going. They're a confusing team.
Confusing, it's confusing. Yeah.
And I think that was something that stuck out this trade deadline was there were teams that really knew exactly what they were doing and what they were looking for, and then there were other teams like the why is it slipping my mind right now? The Atlanta Hawks, like the Wizards, like the Philadelphia 76ers, even.
Maybe the Toronto Raptors too.
Toronto, going out and trading for Brandon Ingram.
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah,
you know, it's funny you bring that up because I do want to get into winners and losers of the trade deadline before we do get out of here. I do want to run through quite a few of these other trades just to see if any stick out to you that you want to discuss further here. But I will throw this out here, man. Brandon Ingram was one of my biggest losers of the deadline because you go from the New Orleans Pelicans, a loser-ass team, to the Toronto Raptors that are going nowhere in the Eastern Conference. And it's a clunky fit, quite honestly, with Scotty Barnes. So
yeah, I would say this though about that real quickly. Like, I think it's definitely a lose either way, but it's kind of better because New Orleans is just simply cursed, man. No other way to look at it. Like he's out of there, he's going to the six. I'm pretty sure it'll be more funner to end the season not playing that than in New Orleans. And also, like with Brandon Ingram, he really don't have much to worry about because he's a free agent regardless. So, you know.
Very good point. Very good point. So, yeah, maybe he's not the biggest loser.
I did see reports that the Raptors are looking to extend him. So, we'll see.
You got a little bit of a Duke connection up there with RJ Barrett.
Yeah,
so I'm sure they're friends. So it is interesting. I mean, it's interesting to think about what Toronto could become, especially if he does sign back. You add like good shooting around him, floor spacers. They could do something with it. It is a little bit. It's almost repetitive in my eyes as like the Zion and Brandon Ingram fit, the Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes fit. Like I'm not saying Zion and Scotty Barnes are the exact same players, but I feel like they are similar in style in a sense. Like Scotty Barnes not as explosive. They both rebound. They like to have the ball in their hands. They like to play make a little bit. Not the greatest shooters, right, from the outside. So it is a little weird to me. But I'll run through just a few more of these, my man. You mentioned this one earlier to Dallas. Caleb Martin traded for Quentin Grimes and a 2025 second-round pick to
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia. I do want your thoughts on this because, like, for me, I'll throw them to you. To me, this was like us selling. We made a commitment in the offseason to a guy like Caleb Martin, who I was very excited to bring into this organization.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they sold on him very, very quickly, which to me feels like regrets, which I don't love. I don't love when they're that uncertain about a decision that they just made. Same thing with shopping Paul George around. But Quentin Grimes, like, in theory, is a better fit for our starting lineup than a Caleb Martin, maybe.
Yeah,
But what did you think of this?
I want to ask. I'm not just educated on you guys' money, but do you think it has something to do with like getting under the second apron or something like that?
Definitely.
Because I
I
know
think
that
that,
I know he makes more than Grimes. So
yeah, absolutely. And a lot of these moves were about shedding and getting under the second apron or whatever.
Mhm.
Making space to sign back Gershon Yabusele this
Oh
offseason.
yeah, because
Making space to convert Justin Edwards' contract into
it
an
makes sense.
official NBA contract. So it's
Well,
frustrating, but to your point, it does kind of make sense. You get Jared Butler from the Wizards for
mhm.
Reggie Jackson, a young guard. I'm
Uh,
excited about that, but
so you guys did get rid of KJ Martin as well. Well, if you look at it from that
that was the one
perspective,
trade I did not really like at all, the KJ Martin trade.
you didn't like getting the picks back, or you just didn't like it at all.
They told us coming into this season that the KJ Martin extension was to go out and get like a player that's going to contribute to the team and maybe fit a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Then you just trade him for draft comp. Like, once again, it's a confusing sense of direction from the organization for me.
I will say this though. I think that if you look at it from that perspective, it does make sense. I think Darren Moore know you guys not going to do anything this year, so
Yeah,
why not,
yeah,
free up some money to be able to re-sign Wabusele in the offseason? Because I'm telling you, man, a lot of teams are going to be trying to go out there and get him. So it
yeah,
makes sense. I mean, obviously, you hate to see Caleb Martin go because he was a pretty good fit alongside you guys. I remember watching him on Christmas Day. He had a hell of a game. But yeah, I guess if you look at it from that perspective, it makes much more sense than what it did. So yeah, I can
yeah.
see why. Yeah.
No, you make a good point, and I think that it could be my negative view on it could be more of a realization moment that they are selling and that this isn't the year. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
came into
I
this
think so.
season so excited, and this is basically signaling like, yeah, we're gonna try to build some chemistry down the stretch here, but overall, we're not gonna be competing for a
Right.
championship this year.
So in saying that,
It is
like,
obvious with the
yeah,
record, though.
so Joel Embiid may not even play in the second half of the season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to pay attention to. I think Paul George needs to play because he just needs to get better. But Embiid, if he's has any type of like injury concerns, just go ahead and sit out. You're not going to be winning anything this year. Yeah, the pinky, bro. Talked about it. I've talked about it so much in the last few weeks. My man missed like 3 or 4 games with a pinky sprain. Not even broken, not even fractured, a sprain. Tape it to your ring finger and get on the court. But my man be on here podcasting like us every night, faithfully.
Yeah,
So
faithfully. Yeah.
that's what eats me up inside about Paul George, bro. But just to run through a few more trades here. Valanciunas, he goes to the Kings. He's shipped out by the Wizards. That is where is it Sissoko? I'm just gonna go with Sissoko.
Yeah, City
He gets
Cisco.
shipped out. He gets shipped out for Jonas Valanciunas, along with a 2028-29 second round picks. We mentioned Brandon Ingram. We mentioned Mark Williams to the Lakers. DeAndre Hunter. So, okay, here we go. Just a blitz of a few. Yusuf Nurkic to the Charlotte Hornets for Cody Martin, the other twin Martin brother. Micic and a 2026 second round pick.
Okay.
We mentioned Reggie Jackson to the Wizards for Jared Butler. Bogdanovich, you mentioned to the Clippers for Terrence Mann and Bones Highland, which was interesting. I like both of those players specifically, but Bogdanovich would be an upgrade, I would say, as they approach a postseason position.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart to the Wizards for picks. And then I mentioned earlier Kevin Porter Jr. to Milwaukee for, is it Marshawn Beauchamp?
Yeah.
one of the younger guys from that Milwaukee roster. Did I miss any that you wanted to point out before we get into
Um,
winners and losers? Top of your head.
no, I don't. No, not top of my
There were
head.
so
I will
many.
say this, huh?
There were so many. Like
Yeah,
it's
that's what
hard
I
to
was
make sure
finna.
you got them all.
I gotta say this, man. Shout out to Shams, man. That he deserves. Hey,
You sent
man.
me that
That
meme.
yes. Hey, what a guy! But I think that the Wizards between Chris Middleton and Marcus Smart does buy one of their contracts out because Marcus Smart is like I think he got like 2 more years left on his deal. He makes like 20 million. So if you're the Wizards and you pretty much in rebuilding mode, it don't make sense to keep him. And I'm sure contending teams would want him on their team. So look out for
Yeah.
that.
No, I think that's a great point. Because it would be a waste for guys that could contribute on a contender to
Yeah.
waste away on that bench. So we'll see what they're willing to sacrifice to buy those guys out. Um, I will go ahead and give you I have 3 winners and I have 3 losers, but my
Mhm.
loser opinion has kind of changed. Like you kind of talked me out of some of the losers. I won't lie to you.
You
My
think
winner.
so?
Yeah, no lie. I had Brandon Ingram as a loser, but you make a great point. Like just getting out of that New Orleans situation.
Yeah, man. Just get
Maybe
out of there, man.
maybe he can regain his value in Toronto and maybe go
Yeah.
somewhere else if he wants to at the end of the day. Um, the other one I had was the Sixers, but once again, you kind of talked me out of it. It was more of just my expectations versus what actually happened. And
Mhm.
then my other loser, even though I do think Dallas will still contend this season with AD, I think it's a great fit. You get Caleb Martin. I think, like you said, they have a great defensive identity. You lose a 25-year-old MVP candidate that took you to the NBA Finals. I think it's a loss. Like you could get whatever back, and it's
Mhm.
probably going to be a loss when you lose
Uh,
the best player in the
yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
So that's why I
Yeah.
went with the Mavs as a loser. My biggest winner was the Lakers. You get Luka, you get the best player available, and then you also get a guy that you did need. You needed him for fit wise, right? And Mark Williams. Number 2, I went with the Spurs and De'Aaron Fox. Once again, talent. And then number 3, I did go with the Warriors and Jimmy Butler,
Mhm.
but I gave heavy consideration to DeAndre Hunter and the Cavs only because of where the Cavs were before they got DeAndre Hunter.
Mhm.
But I do think Jimmy Butler is the bigger acquisition.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with pretty much most of them. Like you said, I talk you out of them. Well, shout out to Brandon Ingram because he don't have to be around to lose like CJ McCollum. Which, by the way, a lot of guys in the NBA should blame CJ McCollum for this new CBA. So, hey, but
Yeah,
anyway, man, my I fear my biggest winner. First and foremost, Luca. That he's for sure my biggest winner, but I'm not going to include him. That's in a category of his own.
good
I'm gonna
point.
still name 3 others.
Yeah,
Okay, number 3, Darren Fox at the Spurs. It's not you don't really find too many superstars in this league that actually want to go where they want to go. And Darren
yeah,
Fox wanted to go to San Antonio, and that's what he got. So shout out to D Fox. Like I said, I think him and Women going to be one hell of a fit together. So that's that. Number 2, I got to go with DeAndre Hunter to the Cavaliers. That's a good pickup, man. He give you more height. He can shoot the ball. He can even
like
score
it.
the ball. So yeah, just a seamlessly fit. I'm pretty sure you're going to play alongside those guys pretty good. So
Yeah,
and then number 1, man. I gotta go with Jimmy Butler to the Warriors. I got over the emotions of losing Wiggins, but ultimately we need a guy like Jimmy on his team, like a certified second option. Like there were
yeah,
times like we are getting stretches of the game and we just cannot score the ball. And a guy like Jimmy would come in and fix that for us as well as be that dog on the defensive end. And we all know what Jimmy about come playoff time. So hey, those are my biggest winner. Like I say, Luca, that's in the category of his own. The Lakers clearly
feel that.
won that trade, and it's not even close. Like no disrespect to AD,
Yeah,
but hey, three of my biggest losers of this trade. Number 1, the Dallas Mavericks. Like you said, man, you can't trade a guy like that coming off a finals run. He took you to the finals. Y'all haven't been to the finals in like what 10, maybe 11 years up to that point, and he took you guys to the promised land. Although they came up short of the goal, you still got to give a guy like that credit. He's only 25 years old. His potential is through the roof. He's still got many, many ways to get better. So, hey, that's the Mavericks to me, the number 1 loser in this. Number 2, man, this is interesting for sure. You go a lot of different ways, but I'm gonna go to Hornets. I think that if you the Hornets, you're a rebuilded team. And Mark Williams has been playing good basketball ever since he came back from injury. So
Yeah.
why trade him? No knock on Dalton Connect. I'm pretty sure you're going to have a pretty good career in the NBA. But why trade him if you don't have to? Like Mark Williams, he was, building chemistry with Melo and all those young guys down there.
Yeah.
So why just trade him? It don't make sense to me. But we know what's really going on with the with the Lakers front office. We know what's going on. But
Yeah.
to me, the Hornets
Yeah.
lost that trade because Mark Williams has a lot of potential, and we'll see if Dalton Connect surpass him. But I'm still pretty high on Mark Williams.
And you
And
give the Lakers exactly what they need. That's the other side of it for me
exactly,
as well. Like you just
exactly.
cater to the Lakers.
Yeah, because the fact of the matter is like it hurts. The Lakers trading Dalton Connect don't hurt them. It
Right.
really don't.
Because you have Austin
So
Reeves. You were able to
yeah,
hold on.
yeah. I don't think I have a third one though, man. I'm be honest with you. I think that's
I feel
yeah,
that.
yeah. I don't
I
have
feel
a
that
third
there
one.
weren't a ton of losers. I had to get creative and say like Brandon Ingram and the Sixers, who some people do feel like the Sixers had a positive trade deadline given where they're currently at. So I had to
Hey
kind of
man,
dig for losers myself. I couldn't put the Kings as losers, even though they did
no, they
lose
got Zach
Fox.
Lavine.
Yeah, they replaced it
They got an
like
all-star
probably
caliber player.
about as good as you could, right? So, um, yeah, I would agree. I don't think there's too many losers. This was by far the craziest NBA trade deadline that I've ever experienced in my life.
Easily, easily. But
It
what it
speaks to the
is,
lack of loyalty for me, man. Whether it's from the teams, obviously in Luka's situation, the players forcing their way out of
Mhm.
situations. Not saying anybody's right or wrong at all. It just doesn't seem like there's too much loyalty all around.
No, it's not. But I'd say this, man. That Luka trade should really open up a lot of guys' eyes because if Luka get traded like that on a random Saturday night, what does it
Anybody.
tell you? Anybody can get moved. And also, I think what it is, man, this trade deadline really set the tone for the next 9 years because the new CBA, this is pretty much the off season. Like a lot of guys don't have the money to sign guys, so you're going to start seeing a lot of more trades like this, like we have had the past week or so. So yeah, man, that's pretty much how it's going to be for the next 9 years. The trade deadline is going to get wilder and wilder, and they set the tone, man. They really did.
And to your point, this is what I'll wrap up with. I did agree with what Steve Kerr said, your head coach, about
Yeah,
moving the trade deadline to like all-star break. And
yeah.
so that way you're not in the middle of regular season games breaking trades to the players on the
Yeah.
bench, right?
I
Like
could
it's just
agree.
a little ridiculous.
I could
So
agree.
I did like that idea for
Yeah,
sure.
because last night we played the Utah Jazz. We had to pull our whole team from shoot around to break the news that we're trading them.
Yeah.
So
Which
yeah,
is just kind of like, it's a little ignorant, but
yeah,
it
it
is what it
sucks,
is.
but that's
It's
the
a
business
business.
side of the NBA.
They're getting paid millions, so they can't
Yeah,
complain too
that's the
much. But
business side of it.
it
So
is, man. But that's gonna be it for this episode of NBA to the Galaxy Pod trade
yes,
deadline
sir.
special. We will be back Tuesday. Super Bowl Sunday. I'm an Eagles fan, so we'll be back Tuesday. Giving myself a day of a break just in case. Could be good, could be bad, could be great. I'm gonna give myself a day to process emotions on Monday, regardless of what happens Sunday. So we will be back Tuesday, back
Yeah.
at it again. Maybe we'll get into the buyout market if that starts popping off over the weekend. But
Yeah, let's
no,
do that. Yeah.
I see there's 123 people watching the show right now between X and YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, please do us a favor. Head over to the YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button over there. Turn the alerts on, comment over there, get involved in the show. That's where we are trying to grow our hardest. But you can also find us on Twitter at To The Galaxy Pod. And our shows will be live on at DSM_media on
Yes,
X.
sir.
You can find my hosts over to the right of me, Slimothy Jones, otherwise known as Slim, at RTR30111. You can find myself at Scotty Drown. That's going to be it for this episode of NBA to the Galaxy
Peace,
Pod. Peace,
everybody.
everybody.